bubble baths, candles, whatever, scented candles, it doesn't matter how we do it, going for a walk, going to the beach. We have to learn to relax. We have to make time for that because it's not built into our regular schedule. And then going back to what I said in the very beginning, creating and maintaining a supportive social network, individually and for the family as a whole, so that the family, couples and their children should have friends they can rely on, other couples and children. So if it's not there, we have to create it and then maintain it. And it does take, again, time and effort. And I'd just like to interject that recently a young man, a professional, asked me if it was unfair to ask his fiancée when they got married, she should sacrifice her career for a few years instead, so that she can raise the kids. And I said, why are you using the word sacrifice? Isn't it an investment in the future? And he said, oh, I'd never thought about it that way. And all of a sudden it made sense to him. And then I hope he was able to convince her. They're not married yet, so I will find out. Okay. And finally, communicate, communicate, communicate. And I found this very interesting, that with a face-to-face message, the visual component is 58%. So that means, you know, looking into the person's eyes, noting their body language, really seeing them. Voice is 35%. Content is 7%, which gives you a total of 100%. That is if you're listening, if you're paying attention, and if you're looking, right? However, texting, which is everybody's favorite pastime these days, gives you zero visual, except for what you're typing, gives you zero voice. It only gives you 7% of the message. And usually less if you see all the typos and miscommunications and the corrections by the iPhone, right? Okay, that's all I have. And I hope we'll have a good discussion. I'm looking forward to hearing the other panelists. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Amelikati. We're going to move on to our next speaker. Guest speaker is Ms. Christine Syrian. Ms. Christine Syrian is an ARNP, which is an advanced registered nurse practitioner. Ms. Syrian has been in practice here in Panama City since 1991. She's been in practice for over 34 years. She graduated from Worcester, is that correct? Worcester City Hospital School of Nursing in 1971. Received her bachelor's in nursing in 1975 from Long Island University. She's also a graduate of the University of Colorado in 1981 with her ARNP. She has been practicing with nurse practitioner associates since 1991. Her topic tonight is intervention and prevention of teen pregnancy. In her topic, she will touch upon the impact of pregnancy on teens and infants and society, ways to address sexually active teens as well as pregnant teens and providing tools, and also methods for providing tools for help and support to both the families and the teens. We welcome you. Thank you.
I think we ought to lock up teens from age 10 till 21, and that's the solution. We're done. Okay, 20 minutes, okay. Just nudge at me. Okay, I'm Chris. I'm a family nurse practitioner, and gosh, it's been, I've raised 3 children, and I can say ditto to everything that Ms. Alcati said because she just did a wonderful job, because it's true, everything that she said. You know, when I was 18 years old, my parents never talked about sex. I never heard the word sex. And I couldn't date till I was 18, and then the dating was, a church event or school event, and that was it. You never went out on your own. Nobody had a car, no cell phone, so we didn't have that. Well, my first date, he kissed me, and I came home and I told my mother I thought I was pregnant, and she goes, "What happened?" I said, "Well, Tony kissed me," and she goes, "Is that it?" And I said, "What else is there?" And that's at 18, right? That's all I knew. Today, 10 years old, or probably younger, kids they know more than we do. So times have changed, and as she so nicely put, we never had a cell phone. We never had TV till I was older. I'm dating myself, but it's just the way it was. The studies today, we're going to talk a few minutes about intervention, is that the United States is the #1, holds the world's record for teen pregnancy in the Western world, and that's sad. It's very sad. I think we can thank Hollywood, television, internet, all that nice stuff that we see poured out every day. It's okay that you're having sex. It's okay that you're doing this and you're running around. I mean, it's filling children's brains with, it's okay to do that. So they turn around and go, yeah, it is okay to do that. I don't think, Chandra's probably going to talk later, I couldn't be a teacher. If you paid me $1 million a year or work in the school system, I would go nuts. The studies show that teens really want to hear it from their parents, not their culture, not their peers. They want the parents' influence. 88% of adults say that they don't know what to say. When I was growing up, you didn't talk about sex. You just didn't do it. Nobody did it back then, and nobody talked about it. And it was very rare, and honestly, I went to a public school, and we had to wear dresses to school or skirts. When I graduated high school, went to nursing school a year later, which was in the late 60s, kids started wearing dungarees, and they were just, I'm dating myself. If you smoked a cigarette, you were the worst person alive. You didn't have sex. Nobody did that stuff. But today, it's just sad. Parents who are clear about their values, it tends to rub off on their kids. Parents who discuss contraception tend to have less children that get pregnant. The overall closeness to parents and children is the key. We've lost that in our society, as we talked about earlier. We have lost the family, and how do we get it back? And it's up to each one of us. We need to look at our kids and see what we're doing. As I said, my parents never talked about sex. I respected them, loved my parents, and I obeyed them because that's what you did, and we would have no teeth if we did anything wrong. They would be rearranged, and it was okay to spank your children back then. I remember one time my mother said something for me to do, and I said, "I'm not doing it." Well, I stuck my tongue out at her. She grabbed the pepper. It went on my tongue, and I never, ever, ever, tongue belongs in the mouth. You do not stick your tongue out at your parent. And I ran off, and I ran under the bed, and I had long hair. She pulled me out from under the bed and said, "Don't you ever do that to me again." And I never did. I respected my parents. My dad would look at us if we started to act up, and that was it. No words were exchanged. You knew better. You respected your parents, and you honored them. Today, there's no respect for anybody, and we see that in our culture. A few years ago, I was in Orlando with my daughter, and we were sitting down at a fast food place, and we were having lunch, and we were sitting there talking. Next to us, there were 6 young girls there. They were all Asian, cute girls, and they were all sitting there like this. A half an hour, I watched them. Not one of them looked at each other, but they were laughing. And I looked at my daughter and I said, for real, is this what you people do today? They go, yeah. I mean, you watch them and they're going 100. Me, I'm like this. I'm like you. I am too old to do this stuff. I had a flip phone until just recently. My kids got sick and tired, so they traded in, they upped their plan, and I'm like, oh please, I like this. And they said, no, you're getting an iPhone. I'm like, I use it. It's just funny. So anyways, these kids were just talking they weren't talking, they were just texting. And I'm thinking, what kind of life do you people have where you just punch letters at each other? I think they're losing ability to spell properly too, I don't know. We were just talking earlier, I have we'll get to that in a minute. But anyways, 14% of sons born to teenage moms are incarcerated by the time they're 30. That's a lot. Daughters of teen moms are 33% higher risk of being teen moms themselves. The cost, between $9 and $10 billion a year for teen pregnancy. Within 3 years of a child's birth, I think it's 25% of these moms stay on welfare. We're paying for that. We are paying for that. We go to work and we're paying for it. Kids that are born to teen moms are more likely to go into foster care. My daughter has a little friend that she babysits. This child's 8 years old, and her biological mother was on drugs and alcohol. The child was born withdrawals, and she's 8 years old now, doing very well because she's had some really good intervention. But her adopted mother is 71. Nobody wanted this child because she was, a crack baby, but she's done so well. And the mother really she's 71. She has no desire to raise a child. So this kid is out playing around, riding bikes in the street. There's kids on crack down the road, and you're like, okay, somebody has to stop the madness, And it's just very sad today. I think our society has had throwaways and throwaway people, throwaway children. There's got to be some major interventions done. Low health for newborns born of higher infant death, low educational development. These kids generally don't go to finish high school. A third of the children don't go to high school. We had a young girl in our practice, and she was 15, and I've seen her since she was probably 7 or 8. And when Gardasil came out, the vaccine, we made sure she got the Gardasil when she was old enough, and we talked about sex. Her mother was fairly open, but they were always running here, there, and everywhere to this place and that place, and let's get her in this, soccer and this and that, and the parenting was left, and a mess. Well, she leaves home when she's 15. She was basically adopted. She runs off with this boy and gets pregnant, and then she has, the child was born with multiple birth defects and died, and the studies go on, the statistics go on, and it's just sad. Tips for parents: be clear about your values to your children. Now, some of us who have grandchildren or still having children at home, be clear about your values. Talk with your teens, monitor who they're with, and we've talked about some of that stuff. Curfews, very important. Cell phones, very important. Take them away, burn them, break them, whatever you have to do to them. They're awful. Computers. We never grew up with that, so I don't understand the mentality today because we never had it. And when I see these kids on video games and this and that and the other, I'm like, what's the point to all of that? There's no communication. If we couldn't go out and play, we were being punished. To us, going out playing baseball, running, playing fort. I was always the nurse that took care of the Indians and the cowboys. It was really cute. So it was always just in my heart. But we loved going out to play. And we weren't afraid to go out to play either. And I remember at 5, I had my tonsils out, and I was so mad I couldn't go out and play. I mean, it was punishment to do that. Times have really changed. Value education. Strong family ties are so important. Express your love, hug your kids, praise their accomplishments, spend time with them. My daughter had a baby about 1.5 years ago, and she was maybe 4 or 5 months old, maybe